So I guess the goalie controversy's on hold for now. And the waiver wire drama's over too. What should be the next Leafs thing that we make way too big a deal of? When did Mitch Marner become a goon? Let's go! Why not? The Toronto Maple Leafs! I guess my brand is a yell and scream. I don't script these. Are the Leafs alright? So what you get is from the heart. Welcome to LFR. Victory, puppies! Iggy, pretend this is Neil Pionk. What? No, you go. Leafs win 3-1 over the Winnipeg Jets. My voice is cracking all over the place. We uploaded a new podcast yesterday. We didn't really get into the Spezza and Dell stuff too much, so let's do it here before we talk about the game. Losing Aaron Dell sucks, but it's not the end of the world. It's not a problem until it becomes a problem, and it may never become a problem. I will say though, this waiver wire situation with goalies is getting out of hand. The Hurricanes basically screwed the Oilers by taking Anton Forsberg for no good reason, then putting him back on waivers, and then the Jets get him. So the Hurricanes basically went, here you go, and gave him to a divisional rival. And the Devils, well, they were in a pickle because of a very unfortunate problem. Corey Crawford retiring right in the middle of camp. So they claimed goaltender Eric Comrie off waivers. And now how do you feel if you're Eric Comrie? Because the Devils basically went, ooh, Aaron Dell, that's much better. And they grabbed him. And if any goalie around the league, including Comrie, is put on waivers, there's no guarantee the Leafs are even going to get him because the waiver wire is based on last year's standings. So the Leafs have mandatory border quarantine to deal with, and they're being punished for like being too good last year, I guess, even though they were like thoroughly middle of the pack. And a lot of Leaf fans are anxious now because Michael Hutchinson is now the team's third goalie. Right now there are 31 starting jobs, 31 backup jobs, and 31 third string goalie jobs. That makes for 93 goalies, and next year when Seattle enters the equation, it'll be 96. Out of those 93 goalies in the 1-2-3 situation, only 3 will be nominated for the Vezina. The problem with last season is Hutchinson was the number 2. Hutch is the Leafs' third stringer now, and yeah, your third stringer can become the backup in the blink of an eye, but your best option for a third string goalie is a good young goalie prospect who is waiver exempt. Anything other than that is crossing your fingers, and that's what the Leafs did with Dell. The Leafs have drafted some good young goalies, but they're just not ready yet, so this is the situation they're in. I don't know what they should have done differently. Now, as for Jason Spezza, I love it. Because basically the Leafs could put almost anybody on waivers and there would be a risk of them getting lost. But Spezza and his agent get the word out immediately as soon as he hits the waiver wire. If you claim me, I'm going to retire. The only team I want to play for is the Toronto Maple Leafs. Oh, be still my beating heart, Jason. I don't think this is a situation like last year. I think Spezza and the Leafs were in on it. They were both aware of the situation. And now that he's cleared waivers, the Leafs still have Jason Spezza and they have the flexibility of sending him up and down between the taxi squad. Listen, all the waiver wire cap shenanigans are extremely confusing to me. Here's all you need to know. Jason Spezza is a Leaf. So now, Leafs, Jets, let's talk about it. It was a good first period. Lots of back and forth. The Leafs played disciplined and crisp. Would it be more exciting if the Leafs were up like 4-3 by the end of the first? Maybe. But we already know the Leafs can play like that and have some regular season success like that. We know it doesn't work in the playoffs. So for me, I actually enjoyed the peace and quiet. But not too quiet. Because the most noteworthy thing about the first period, Kyle Connor goes crashing into Frederik Andersen. Freddie took some exception to it, but Justin Hall stepping up for his goalie. Now, Hall gets the roughing minor, Connor, goaltender interference. Basically, Hall threw away the team's chance at a power play there. And some of you might call that dumb, and you might say, well, our defense is that we have a power play. Our toughness is our power play. Remember that? Well, here's what Freddie Andersen said after that incident. This is from Mark Masters. It's great to see guys step up. Obviously, I don't know if you could see, but I wasn't really happy about it either. But yeah, it was great to see. He let him know it's not acceptable, and it's a good signal to send. You know what? In a playoff game, maybe in the third period of a game you're losing, maybe don't do that. Maybe you do just take the power play and try to get the goal. But this is the first period, and it's early in the season. Every season, everything resets. So Justin Hall and the Leafs are setting a precedent that you can't touch our goalie. And by the way, it's still 4-on-4. You can still try to score. Good on Justin Hall for doing that. I love it. Don't touch our goalie. That was the only exciting thing about the first period. Shots are 10-10. It was pretty even. Then the second happened. Early in the second, Sami Niku takes a penalty on John Tavares, and the Leafs go to the power play. And the Leafs are hammering the puck. Remember I said the shots were 10-10? 20-10! And the Leafs power play looks excellent. They're getting their shots, they're getting their chances, but Connor Hellebuck is good. So then about 10 seconds remaining in the Leafs power play, there's a face-off. John Tavares wins it. And this is about as crisp a play as you can hope for. Tavares gets it for like the half win, Willie corrals it for the full win, sends it to Jake Muzzin at the point, who wrists it on. Connor Hellebuck stops it, steers it to the side, but Willie, it almost looks like he anticipates that. I think he anticipated that if Hellebuck stops it, it's probably going to be deflected into that, like, general area. I don't think he thought tape to tape. Or I guess that's pad to tape. Jimmy Vesey's creating havoc in front, but John Tavares is wide open because of Neil Pionk. What are you doing? You're lost? Go Leafs. He tries to cut off the pass by, as best I can tell, taking a nap. John Tavares blasts home the one-timer, and it's a 1-0 Leafs lead. And thank goodness he did. That was frustrating, that power play. To get all those opportunities, all those chances, do everything right, and come away with nothing? Who knows? Maybe the Jets would have been able to ride that. Instead, it's the Leafs who keep the momentum going. At one point, the shots in the second period were 17-1. They ended 22-6 because the Jets had a mighty comeback at the end. Despite that, it would be the Leafs to get on the board again. Goals like this make me wish I could use footage because this is a mess from the Jets. Austin Matthews with the puck in the neutral zone. He has a clean zone entry into the Jet zone because Mark Scheifele with defense that isn't exactly going to win him the Selke. You got Blake Wheeler telling his defenseman, like, no, go there. So Matthews is able to just wheel behind the Jets net, basically front row seat, sends it to a wide open Justin Hall for a blast of a one-timer. Hellebuck stops it, but the puck is sitting in the crease. Mitch Marner, goal suck, just taps it in on the backhand, and it's a 2-0 Leafs lead. That was a great play by the Leafs, but the Jets gotta do better than that. I'd be roasting the Leafs if they let that happen. You just let Matthews go, Hall gets the completely uncontested shot, and then Mitch Marner bullied you in the crease? And the Leafs go to intermission with a 2-goal. Nope. Only about 30 seconds later, the Jets get the Leafs scrambling a little bit. It's a complete mess in the defensive zone, but the Leafs do have 3 guys in front. The problem is there's only 2 Jets. Justin Hall realizes what's going on. He tries to compensate and cover Connor in time, but he can't. Connor with the wide open shot, and he's pretty good, scores. Now it's 2-1. And this is what drives me nuts about the Leafs, man. You outshot your opponents 22-6 and got 2 goals because of it. You got a 2-0 lead. That is about as dominant a period as you can perform and ask for. And you go to the locker room having just allowed a goal, and your opponents believe they can still get back in this game because they're only 1 shot away. It's not that the Leafs suck. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know I was a lot less stressed out when they did suck. It's that they're great and they do stuff like that. I've been talking about the Leafs playing a great 55-minute game and then stinking for 5. That's 30 seconds right there. And they start the third period with Jake Muzzin getting a penalty. Ugh. And despite the fact that he's one of their most important penalty killers, the Leafs kill it off. The penalty kill was brutal in the first couple games. It's gotten better. And then with about 5 minutes to go, Morgan Rielly, did they lower the glass this season? Move over, too many men on the ice. There's a new sexy penalty to take every single game, and it's the puck over the glass. Listen, we've already talked about this. I know it's a stupid rule, but as long as it's a rule, don't do it! I mean, you see the immediate look on Morgan Rielly's face. I felt bad for Morgan, but I felt worse that the Leafs were on the penalty kill. But then something happened. We watched the goalie controversy die in real time. Freddie Anderson was dialed in this one, and the Jets couldn't get one past them. 12 saves on 12 shots in the third period. The Leafs have an empty net, and they score! Mitch Marner gets the empty netter to seal it, but not before almost getting decapitated by Neil Pionk. I retweeted it this morning just so you can watch it a few more times and see exactly what I'm talking about. Neil Pionk, just from what the camera shows, gets like 8 good strides in on Marner. It could have been more. And he throws the hit knowing full well that it's going to come after Marner's shot, knowing full well that that shot is going to go in. I don't have that much of a problem with it. You're still allowed to finish your hit in that situation, and you might as well send a message like, hey, we're not going to go down without a fight. I get that. But it's clearly charging. Looked like he tried to go high, and he stuck out his leg. He was trying to get a piece of Marner. And so after he scores, sealing the Leafs win, Mitch Marner lets Pionk know about it. Then Scheifele gets involved, shoving Marner. I don't have a huge problem with that. He's just sticking up for his teammate, which is why I love John Tavares coming in then and shoving Scheifele and sticking up for his teammate. That was something I talked about with Nick Kyprios before this season began. I can't remember if it was on my podcast or his, but I was talking about, oh, I'd love to see Mitch stick up for himself, or Austin. And he goes, you know who I want to see throw an occasional punch? John Tavares. I'm not asking him to get his black belt in jiu-jitsu. I'm just asking him to be in the scrum with his teammates. And he was. And I tell you what, though, almost every player on the ice congregated in that scrum at the end of the game, except for, you know who wasn't in it from the Jets? Neil Pionk. Real tough from a guy who tried to throw a dirty hit and ended up yard sailing and spending 2 of his team's 3 goals against flat in his stomach. Dude, how good is the All-Canadian division, eh? It's basically going to be 56 games of playoff hockey. I love it. And then after the game, Marner had this to say. Marner on Pionk. Who cares? We won the game. Heel turn Marner. Clap. clap, 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 clap. I absolutely love it. This is what we were talking about. Like, people made a big deal of the Wayne Simmons fight from the Montreal Canadiens game. Did that help the Leafs win? I don't know. But it's not about getting guys like Simmons and Bogosian to fight your fights for you. It's to drag the rest of the team into the fight. That's about as much animosity we've ever seen out of Tavares, Marner, and Hall in their entire time in a Leafs uniform. I love it. And it's not just sticking up for yourself and toughness and How about Justin Hall with the huge shot block late in the game and TJ Brody sacrificing the body to cut off a pass for what would have been a pretty nasty scoring chance for the Jets to tie it. It's still early, there's still work to do, but there have been some moments this season that make me go, this Leafs team looks different. Questions. 641 for Mikko Lehtinen. I think that's nowhere near enough, but I'd like to hear your thoughts. Yeah, so interesting choice heading into this game. The Leafs played 11 forwards and 7 defensemen. I actually think it kind of makes sense, and they should maybe look at doing it more often. It's nothing against Barabanov, obviously, but I don't think there's anything wrong with having 7 defensemen in there. And I think it should mean something for Travis Dermott, who a lot of people were like, oh, he's fighting for his job, to still be in the lineup. You know, they're having a hard time scratching him. They obviously don't want to. That being said, 641 for Lehtinen is not enough. And as they said on the broadcast, this is a guy who was playing like 23 minutes in the KHL with bigger ice earlier in this season, just a couple months ago. I don't get it. And he had a bit of a defensive blip, and then he had a play that I thought was pretty good defensively, and he was barking orders, and it created a scoring chance. I definitely wanted to see more of him. Honestly, the way I thought it was going to end up working out, and you never know over the course of the season, but I thought it might end up working out Riley, Brody, and then Lehtinen would end up taking over for Hall with Muzzin. And then sure enough, Mikko Lehtinen's NHL debut was one of the best hockey games I've ever seen Justin Hall play in the NHL. Seriously, Hall's been very good. But now, when was the last time the Leafs had this problem? They have more than 6 NHL-capable defensemen. They got more than 4. It was real tough seeing Dermott take a penalty in this game because Lehtinen's going to be challenging for more ice time and more opportunities in the lineup. You can sit Bogosian too, and that'll probably be an option at some point. It's very interesting. Did Marner put some sriracha in his Mountain Dew tonight? Things were getting spicy by the end of the game. You know, we see guys play in the NHL and we see them make $11 million or close to it, and we start to expect certain things of them. And why shouldn't we? They make $11 million. But I often forget how young these guys are. It could be that having certain guys in the lineup makes him play bigger, or it could just be he's becoming more of a man, more of an adult. For anyone over the age, you know how it is. You turn 18 and they're like, you're a grown-up, and you're like, I am? And he's this fun-loving kid, and he likes drawing smiley faces on his gloves, and you know, hockey's supposed to be about fun, and that's cool. But when it's not fun, when people are getting in your face, you can't be like, oh, come on, what's that all about? And especially like earlier in my career, I'm just trying to be a people pleaser and get my foot in the door and, oh, you know, just trying to be part of the team there, boss. And I just remember one day a switch got flipped and I was like, don't talk to me like that. Just one day, I don't even know what it was, but I was like, I have a job, I have bills that I pay, don't talk to me like that. And when it comes to hockey, like we've talked about this with Zdeno Chara and how he made the Bruins like, oh, they feel safer with Chara out there. No, what Chara did for the Boston Bruins is he showed the Bruins how to make room for themselves. And if the situation called for it, he made room for them too. That way they had lots of room. There was the room they made for themselves and the room that was provided for them by basically Frankenstein's monster. And it made them into one of the best teams over the past decade, 3 Stanley Cup final appearances and 1 chance to sip from the cup. And you can't tell me there aren't guys on the Leafs bench going, okay, even Mitch is getting chippy. I'm not telling you to be this big brash jerk, and I'm not telling you to go looking for trouble, but I am telling you, do not ever let anybody who isn't you think that they run you. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Things are getting spicy.